Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. This is going to be part 21 of my narrated series of exposing Katie Joy with my mini balls. This one is that cute little mini witch hands on the crystal ball, and if you push the button, it makes it seem like there's little spirits going through. Isn't that cool? I mean, Bath and Body Works makes honestly the coolest stuff. I gotta show you. Look at that. See? How cool is that? We'll put that over here. And we'll put that, the witch just is not lighting up anymore, but like I say, this is just what I look like, just so that if you guys are wondering. And actually, I'm going to turn this on. There we are. So I'm traveling again. I usually don't say when I'm going to go on vacation before I go on vacation, and I don't let anybody know until I'm back at home. So you'll be seeing this, and I'll be back at home by then. See my Halloween spider web nails. I don't like spiders at all, but I mean, these nails and then the red accent nail with that, I just had to do it because have to represent the teams my husband loves, and he's over here in Wisconsin, so he likes the Badgers. See, this should still light up, but it just doesn't, and she doesn't have a battery, so all right. So anywho, over here on my last night of vacation, and there's just a lot going on in the rumor mill with Katie Joy, and I am making it my prerogative to slow those rumors down. It's not easy because she creates so much on her own, and there is so much lore out there that it's hard to see what is true and what is not. So something that keeps coming up is that people think that the hearing tomorrow, October 3rd, will be what gets her. That the judge will do a smackdown on Katie Joy, and that the judge will in fact see that she is allegedly neglectful towards her son and will order her to court appointed drug treatment, alcohol treatment, etc., etc. Now, I don't know where all of those rumors come from, and I just love Cactus Bill, and I saw on her post that she put on there the history of the judge, of the new judge that's there. The reason why there's a different judge is because the old judge retired, and there's the whole new courthouse. So there was a whole lot that was going on in our county with the new courthouse, new judge, new prosecutor. There's a lot going on. It had nothing to do with Katie Joy per se. Okay, so that's an important piece that I can give you as a local and let you know that there's a lot of other things going on that made one thing happen, and it doesn't have anything to do with the other. Now, the other thing that I must tell you, and I've explained before, is that we live in a very, very conservative part of the country, in that we don't have police in the area where Katie Joy lives, nor where I live, nor where the courthouse is. Okay, it's all under sheriff's rule. So many of the cities do not have police nor community policing. Okay, a lot of areas in our country are going away from community policing because they feel that the reach is too much, and that that has given rise to some of the over policing that we can see in our communities. Now, from what I've seen, it can go both ways. Is that there are people like Katie Joy who get away with way too much because there are not police and community policing to be more, I want to say, aware of what she's doing. There have been other people who have reported their concerns about her alleged neglect, alleged mistreatment of her son. Okay, I can only say that on the recordings that I have personally heard, then that makes any of us who overheard the yelling of her husband at her son. She played those several times. So if we've heard those, then we have witnessed that. Then I can say that I have witnessed that. And to me, that does constitute abuse. The fact that she was so confident in playing that and not caring that we were all hearing the immature, childish, and unacceptable way in which her husband was screaming at her child and about his frustration at putting him to bed. I would think that CPS would investigate that. I don't feel like that is something that should be heard and not investigated. I think it's problematic. Now, our CPS is an absolute broken system in our country, and it is especially broken in our county. They play this little game that if they cannot verify the report within 24 hours, then it's a closed case. They close the cases every 24 hours. So if you call in and say, hey, I heard this and it was on this YouTube and you can hear it too, they will put a supervisor on if they feel they need to, and they will look at it, and within 24 hours, if they don't find that it is worthy of being a case, they close it. So in a very, very complicated child abuse case that I became aware of, I played their little game and reported it every 24 hours. And as I stated on my community post right now, I have actually hosted in my home children who have been a victim of the horrible CPS. So I have firsthand knowledge of how terrible the CPS system is in our county. And that is with some very egregious and easy to prove actions from children that were old enough to say what was going on, and there was not evidence to say that it was not going on. And still, CPS decided that that's the way that family chooses to operate and handle their discipline, and they are not concerned. So there have been many kids over the years that are friends with my kids that have came to me and whatnot because they know that I will help, and so I can say firsthand that our CPS system is broken. So if they had people calling in saying that they saw this on the internet and they don't feel that Katie Joy is doing this or that, it would be very difficult for them to take it seriously. They wouldn't. If somebody was in the home, say one of the nurses saw, and they were a mandated reporter, or a teacher is a mandated reporter, that would go a longer way. And we do know that there has been at least one healthcare professional in the home that had concerns. But as far as we can tell, nothing came of it. Of course, Katie Joy is not going to tell us if she's being investigated. Okay? Those are completely separate issues than what is going on here. Even if the judge is part of a program that deals with drug rehab and child protection and whatnot, that has no bearing on what that judge is sitting to see in this civil case. The two are not related at all. Further, Katie Joy did not attend the hearing where the attorneys were going to be there and finally see each other from this posturing that they'd been doing back and forth. Katie Joy did not appear. I was there. Katie Joy was not there. And I know exactly what was happening there, in that Katie Joy's attorney was very, very behind, frustrated, and said that she cannot control her client, in as many words, in saying that her client posts up to 15, 20 times a day. So the level of frustration that her attorney had in her voice when she was saying that spoke volumes, saying that basically she can't control her client, okay? And that is in these matters, in what she's posting online. That has no bearing with what's going on with the other issues that those of us who may be concerned about her lack of parenting skills. I would say parenting skills, but I don't see that she has any. It is my personal opinion that her child could be much more capable and successful and happy if she were to receive some education in how to better parent and not spend all of her time obsessing and loathing over functional mothers that do take an active role in raising their children and being wives and running a household. That being said, things go very slow where I'm from right now in Wright County. Long ago and far away, I lived on the West Coast, and I'm used to the West Coast schedules in courts and how they operate and the policing systems there. I've lived in the Midwest now for going on 15 years, and I can tell you that it's a culture shock. It's much slower. It's much more like how things were in the 80s, and especially out in the rural area where both Katie Joy and I reside. So that being said, there's nothing going on with the two, and if Katie Joy were to ever have a CPS investigation, it would be one thing, and then that investigation would have to go to a whole different level before they would take her child out of the home, and then it would be very far-fetched for her to lose custody. Those things really don't happen out here. You have to be... I witnessed a car accident, well, the aftermath of a car accident in town probably 5 years ago. My husband and I were just driving on Sunday, and I saw this little girl getting ready to cross the highway. And the highway, like the highway that goes through town, so your old state highway. And she was coming up from this area, and this little girl about 4 was getting ready to go into the highway. And it would have been terrible. So I had my husband pull over safely, and I went up to the little girl and, asked her where she was coming from and whatnot. And she pointed over to an automobile that was on its side, and a little boy was also walking near there. I went over as fast as I could because it was apparent that the vehicle had just wrecked and was on its side. And so my husband, pulled into the lot where we could then both see the vehicle. And I had him watch the kids while I helped figure out what was going on with the driver. The driver was unconscious. That was a male. And he was kind of gurgling, and there was not any blood or anything like that, but he was gurgling. And so I felt that I could move him enough to get him on his back to start CPR as he was hunched over and gurgling, not totally not alive. And so I got him out of the vehicle and into a flat position to kind of see if I needed to start CPR when he had a seizure. And I rolled him on his side. He came to a little bit after the seizure, was pretty agitated and whatnot. I had my husband, he was calling 911. The man continued to seize and go back and forth between consciousness and seizing, and It took forever for the ambulance to come. It's on a Sunday, and we don't have a fire department in town, volunteer fire department, and they're not on call on Sundays. So it literally, as we looked at the call log and whatnot, it took 18 minutes for EMS to arrive. And the man kept seizing back and forth, and I kept him, conscious enough. And then when the ambulance came, the paramedics got him and put him on the gurney, and we got the little girl enough to talk, so she remembered a phone number enough that we were able to call. And we called, and it was a mom, and she was at work, and that was her boyfriend, and he had a diabetic coma that day while he was in the shower, and he'd been drinking also. He also had a strong smell of alcohol. So he had a seizure in the shower, and then decided to take a drive with the kids. And he apparently had another seizure at the wheel, wrecked the car, and that's where, we came on scene. The sheriff's department came, and the woman said that she couldn't get off work for 2 hours, so the kids needed to go to the emergency room and wait with him until she could get off work. And I was explaining that he wasn't conscious, and she was like, well, I can't leave work. And so I stayed with the little girl and the boy at that location until she could get off work. And it took about that long for the sheriffs to do all of the paperwork and get the car towed and everything like that. And then she just, came and went to pick up the kids. And I was mortified, and I asked the sheriff why he was letting them go. He wanted to know why I thought it was a problem. I thought it was a problem because I don't feel that somebody who'd been drinking and had seizures enough that then he was driving and had another seizure and then crashed with those 2 children enough that they were going to go and cross into the highway. I felt like that reached the level of maybe not letting those kids go home, put in foster, maybe for a temporary hold until we could figure out if there was a responsible adult that could parent those children. But no, I was the problem for asking. And that's the way that I was treated. That's what we're dealing with here. That's why a person like Katie Joy gets away with what she does. Nobody is going to be able to do anything that is going to rise to the level of stopping her. It takes a lot to get a CPS investigation going. It takes even more for custody to be taken away from a parent in this state. I feel that Katie Joy could do a lot better with the way that she treats her child. I feel that she treats him like he's a burden. I feel that there are amazing opportunities here where she lives and I reside for children who need services. And that's how I approach the situation with my son who has cerebral palsy. We've been to the same places for treatment. And that's why when she was talking about the same places that I know to be amazing and wonderful, I knew that it was her attitude and the way that she approaches things that were making the situation be the way that they are. So it is my opinion, yes, that something should be done. But the truth of the matter is that's not going to happen, especially when we're talking about a case between 7M and Katie Joy. Her treatment of her child is not going to come in anywhere in there. It would be something totally different. Now, let's say that, she gets another DUI or has something like that. Then those are going to pave the way for more to happen. But honestly, it takes a lot. I feel that the way that she is keeping him away from the public in general has a lot to do because of people making reports, because other people see the way that she treats her son. And she can't control that. She can control it by keeping him inside, which is what I think she does. I think she's basically homeschooling him. And I think that she's saying she's an atheist so that she doesn't go to church because she doesn't want people coming over from the church to help. I think that the atheist stuff is a big way for her to try to micromanage the situation. I feel that she does everything she can to make sure that her child is dependent on her, just as her husband is. It's a control thing. With that being said, somebody else had a question the other day about her license. And in the very beginning, so if you've not heard my series of exposing from the beginning, please go back to the very beginning in this playlist. This is a playlist that is linked. So if you go to my main page and you go and you find it'll say about my About Me page in the community, for the community posting, and then it'll say playlists, and then you'll find the playlist about Katie Joy, and it will have all of these videos there, and we'll go back to the beginning to see. So I go to the courthouse where this is at, and I do searches, and I go every which way so that there's nothing missed, so that I can see who has put in action against Katie Joy and who hasn't, because there are a lot of rumors about people who have done this and that and put restraining orders on her and done this and that, and I can tell you what's there and I can tell you what's not, and I plan on showing you every single bit of it. I have every single thing that's been filed, and I have everything about 7M, and I'm slowly breaking it down into these little pieces to best explain it, because we have time. As her attorneys both agreed that they will not be near ready for a trial for at least 1 year, and that was when they said on July 18th. So we'll see what they say tomorrow, and then I will get the judge's dissent and report and see what all happened in that phone conference as well, and report that to you as I'm doing everything. So everything is here. I've got it all. I'm just putting it into nice, easy to digest pieces, because none of us can have too much Katie Joy in our lives. So the question the other day was somebody said that her license had lapsed and that she didn't have a license or something like that. And I showed this in the beginning, and this is the truth. The only thing that's blocked out there is her physical address. And so you can see here that it shows that she has her business license. Her Minnesota business name is Without a Crystal Ball, LLC. It's a business type, limited liability company, domestic, and her file number and the filing date is 9/22/2017. The renewal date is 12/31/24. So that's where it looks like she's had it for that time, and it is active. Now, we also have it over here to prove that, and it says active in good standing. Now, we know that there's been issues with it, and so I have this as your breakdown. So it has the original filing, and then it has here where it says administrative termination. And that was 3/20 of 2019. And then on 4/17 of 2019, it says the annual reinstatement. So something happened there, and it was reinstated. And then there was an amendment on 10/12/21. And then there was an administrative termination on 2/1/23. And there was a reinstatement on 6/28/23. Okay, so if we look back at this, there was definitely her LLC in place at the time that 7M filed. And I don't know if it's just that she changed names and whatnot in that is why they have those, but the point of this is that she does have her LLC. It is in good standing. So it is my belief that she thinks that nothing's going to happen, that it will just be a claim against her insurance, and they can't touch her house, her car, herself, anything. I believe, it is my opinion, that her LLC is going to go against her and say that what she is doing is not being performed in the normal course of business. That if these injuries, and that's what we're referring to, the damaged injury to reputation, mental distress, etc. at 7M and the Derricks. If something happened in the normal course of business, then yes, the insurance would pay out. But I believe that they're going to be able to prove that she was not conducting herself in a manner that is consistent with normal business practice. I think that she's reckless and freedom of speech is not guaranteed, and that is my opinion. Now, going forward, I'm going to start with part 21. Now, what this is it's the plaintiff's first set of interrogatories. Okay? Now, this is over here. I just have the part 21 right here. So, State of Minnesota, County of Wright, 7M Films Incorporated with Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick as the plaintiffs versus Catherine Mansky Paulson, aka Katie Joy, and Without a Crystal Ball LLC as the defendants. So this is the plaintiff's first set of interrogatories, and this was filed 5/11 of 2023. So we go over here and it goes to Catherine Mansky Paulson, aka Katie Joy, and Without a Crystal Ball LLC, by and through their attorney Jennifer Moore, Troutman Martin Law, PLLC, 619 South Street in Suite 201 in Minneapolis. Now, if you notice this, it says their attorney, Jennifer Moore. It no longer states Graham. So I wonder if Graham blew up at her and said he's not doing it. It wouldn't surprise me. The way that he was basically huffing and puffing at Amber and whatnot, you can only imagine how he talks to Katie Joy. And he probably told her straight up, stop posting. You need to stop so that we can catch up with what you've done, and you're in trouble here. And she probably was like, I will say whatever I want. I have my sources. And you know what? Her sources aren't going to stand there with her. I mean, they're just not. So it says here, please take notice that pursuant to Rules 2602 and 33 of the Minnesota Rules of Civil Procedure, for the District Court of Minnesota, plaintiffs demand answers from the defendants to the following interrogatories under oath and within 30 days after the date of service hereof. These interrogatories are deemed to be continuing, and should the answers thereto be modified, amended, or changed, or additional information or witnesses obtained or discovered, it is demanded that defendants so advise plaintiffs' attorneys by means of amended or supplemental answers. In all cases wherein defendants are requested to identify a particular document, in lieu of such identification, defendants may supply a fully legible copy of the document in question. This permission, however, shall in no way prejudice plaintiffs' right to require production and allow inspection of all documents and records relating to the claims asserted in plaintiffs' amended complaint. The definitions in instructions. Unless conclusively negated by the context of an interrogatory, the following definitions and instructions are to be considered applicable to all questions contained herein. The singular includes the plural, and the plural includes the singular where appropriate to the sense of the interrogatories. Number 2, identify as used herein shall mean, when used in reference to affiliation, designating which, job title, employment address, business and residence telephone numbers. B, data to state in the case of a document, the title, if any, the date, author, sender, recipient, the identity of the person signing it, type of document, as in a letter, memorandum, book, telegram, chart, etc., or some other means of identifying it, and its present location or custodian. In the case of an oral communication, the date, subject matter, communicator, communicatee, nature of the communication, whether it was recorded, and the identity of any witness thereto. A location shall mean to name a physical place in such detail as may be necessary to identify in reasonable detail. As used herein, document shall mean, but without limitations, every writing or record of every type and description that is or has been in the possession, control, or custody of the responding party, or of which the responding party has knowledge, including without limitation operating statements, profit and loss listings or itemizations of inventories, correspondence, memoranda, tapes, stenographic or handwritten notes, studies, publications, books, pamphlets, records, maps, graphs, reports, surveys, minutes or statistical compilations, calendars, notepads, or customer account books. Every copy of such writing or record where the original is not in the possession, custody, or control of the party to whom this request is directed, and every copy of every such writing or record where such copy is not an identical copy of an original, or where such copy contains any commentary or notation whatsoever that does not appear on the original. Whew. Do we cover everything there on what a document is? What the gist of this is when they are going to ask her, well, where did your sources tell you this? Like, how do you communicate with this source? Oh, well, they told me. Well, how did they tell you? By telephone? No, they emailed me. Well, where's that email? Oh, I destroyed it. Well, you're not allowed to destroy it. You know what I mean? This is what the gist of that is that she can't say, oh, it was over there. Oh, I jotted it down on a piece of paper. Well, where's that paper? Well, where's this? If you don't have this, it didn't happen. And that's where she's going to get in trouble, because she is going to say these sources, and she's going to say that it's journalistic privilege, and she can't give up her sources, and she won't give up her sources, and she'll, try to be this big martyr about protecting her sources, when we know there are no sources. She has gotten away with making a fortune, literally, on lies and making up crap. And now that we're seeing with the Duggars, when she gets nervous about something, then she starts Duggering and Duggar this, Duggar that, Duggar that. Oh, you know about the Duggars? Oh, Duggars. And as things are coming out about the Duggars, and they're actually coming out with their own books and explaining how things went, it doesn't line up with what she's saying. And so she's like correcting the people who actually lived it. She doesn't think the Duggars will come after her. She goes after people that she doesn't think will do so because of their belief system. And I think that it's time for all of them to come to her and start making sure that the truth speaks louder than her lies. Especially when it pertains to their lives and their livelihoods. As we've shown, the Derricks can show at least $40 million that she's cost them. over the projected 20-year contracts that she caused them to lose. So all of the emails, everything she's done, all of this is going to have to be produced. Now it says here, a date shall mean the exact day, month, and year, if ascertainable, or, if not, the best available approximation, including relationship to other events. So she's not going to be able to say, oh, I don't know when they told me this. Okay, you have to show when they told you, what time they told you, how they told you, and then how you can prove that they told you. And if you can't, it didn't happen and you made it up. For each answer to these interrogatories, identify all persons who participated in the preparation of that answer. Describe means to state with particularity, including but not limited to, stating each date, fact, event, occurrence, and identify, pursuant to the term identify, each document, and to identify each individual who can testify to the alleged dates, facts, events, and occurrences. So when she acts like she's got this little media company thing going on, she wants everybody to think that she's got like the little TMZ factory. You know, when you see TMZ getting the calls and they're making up the stories, or not making up, but they're crafting the stories and how to put what in line with what, and who saw what where, and who talked to so and so. She has that in her mind, that she wants others to believe that WOACB, or without a cold beer, as I like to call it, is this newsroom, and all of these phones are going off just nonstop with information. And Katie Joy is the main reporter, and she goes and she breaks these stories and creates these whole narratives. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. It's just a lonely, homely woman sitting there projecting hate. That's it. I don't see how she can know this much. I have a hard time doing what I do just for my channel, because even though my kids are older and in college, I still run my house. I'm still a wife, a mom. I have a very busy life. I cook, I clean, I organize, I have crafts, I have my pets. I'm busy. And, gardening, as you saw this year, was something I added into it. Thank you. She sits there and does this. She has no life. But she could have a life, but she ignores that life. Why? Why? It's more important to lie? Well, we're going to see how well that works out in the court of law. So, describe means to state with particularity. Oh, I already did that. If any communication, oral or written, is claimed to be privileged, resulting from an attorney-client relationship, describe for each communication: A, the person making the communication; B, the person to whom the communication is made; C, the date of the communication; D, the person or persons possessing the privilege. Okay? So we know that that's probably not going to be. She acts like she has these sources and whatnot, and that, here at WOACB, it's just her. And there shouldn't be anything that she talked to the attorney about prior to this, but this is just stating that, if you talk to your attorney about it, and the attorney can't say this, then who's the attorney and how did this go, whatever. And then it says E, the identity or any person present at the time the communication was made. So like if this source that she says comes in, and this source is talking to her, and somebody else is standing nearby, like maybe Toad, her husband, well, then Toad needs to come in and be part of this as well. but Toad's doing something else. Screaming at the kid. I don't know. F. Whether the communication was oral or written, and if an oral communication, whether it was then or later recorded or memorialized in the form of a memorandum, letter, note, or other document. And G. Whether the person who was claimed to possess the privilege was seeking advice at the time of the communication. H. Whether the entire communication related to that purpose. I. Whether the attorney has voluntarily disclosed the content of the communications to any other persons, and if so, provide the name, address, and phone number of that person and describe the circumstances of the disclosure. J. Identify all documents that were shown to or delivered to the attorney or his agent at the time of the communication. And then 8. If the answer to any interrogatory refers to a document or other material for which immunity from discovery as work product is claimed, then for each such document or material, A. Identify it. B. State by whom it was prepared. C. State on whose behalf it was prepared. And D. Identify the litigation respecting which it was prepared. Okay? Doesn't leave anything out there to guess, does it? This is setting the framework for the questions that they're going to ask. Basically like, who told you somebody was waterboarded? And who told you that this is that? And who told you that they control? This is what they're going to ask, but they're just laying down the things about how when we ask you, this is how specific you have to be. And we know she's going to say, that's my sources. Sources. My sources. Sources tell WOACB. Mm-hmm. Now, for the interrogatories, state specifically and not in a general fashion the name, address, and phone number of all individuals who helped prepare your answers to these interrogatories, requests for production, and requests for admission. So if she had her attorneys help her write these, then the attorney would be listed there. Number 2, identify each person defendants are aware of who may have knowledge or who is likely to have discoverable information relevant to the facts and circumstances surrounding the matters which are the subject of the claims in this lawsuit. For each person, include a detailed summary of the matters you believe they may have knowledge of. 3. Identify each person defendants expect to call as a witness at trial. Again, this is going to be problematic because she says she has sources. So these people who are saying these things, where are they? Miranda Derrick's parents have stated they don't want Katie Joy involved in this. They have a family issue that they want to deal with as a family, and they don't want her involved. So they're not saying this. So it's going to be her. She's going to go down. Now, number 4 says, identify each person defendant shall expect to call as an expert at trial. For each person, please state the substance of the facts to which each witness is expected to testify. So, gee, would she be calling up people who, would she have her and her attorney call up an expert in cults and cult behavior to describe what a cult is and cult-like behavior? I mean, what experts is she going to be able to have that are going to be able to explain what and how Katie Joy has done what she's done? You can't. I mean, you have a journalist who's going to come up and talk about how journalists do stories, because any journalist worth their salt is not going to say that Katie Joy is a fellow journalist. They're not going to stand by what she says. She's not a journalist, but she's trying to hover under the umbrella of a journalist. Identify each and every document defendants intend to utilize at trial. State with specificity and not in a general fashion all facts which support each and every detail in your answer to plaintiff's amended complaint. For purposes of this interrogatory, each answer, which was not an unconditional admit, it shall be considered a denial. Okay, so if you don't say yes here and you leave it blank, then it's considered a denial that you didn't do that, or you're not going to answer. State with specificity and not in a general fashion every statement you have made about a person, entity, organization, etc., for which you did not have verification of the facts from the person or entity whom the statement was made about from January 2020 to present. Oh, whoa, this is huge. Oh, that's huge. State with specificity, I can't say this word either, specificity, and not in a general fashion, every statement you have made about a person, entity, organization, etc., for which you did not have verification of the facts from the person or entity whom the statement was made about from January 2020 to the present. Okay, this could be why, as we saw, 7M's attorney included some posting about the Duggars, and it doesn't say why. It could be because she's showing that she has this pattern of doing this about other high-profile people, because she's trying to, well, we know what she's doing. She's trying to make herself relevant and get clout, and she's done it, and she's gotten an awful lot of money for doing it. But the list of her writing about everybody that she's ever written about, that she doesn't have verified information about what she's writing about, this is why her attorneys want her to stop. Or I assume they want her to stop, because this part of the interrogation could take the rest of our lives, because she won't stop posting. This is big, because this says everybody, not just who the lawsuit's about. And then it says, state the names of all social media platforms used by defendants Catherine Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball LLC from January 2020. For each, provide the names and aliases used on each platform by the defendants. The social media platforms include, but are not limited to, Instagram, Snapchat, BeReal, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. Oh, she's in trouble. Because this is going to get her, because they probably know all of the troll names she's using. If she doesn't admit to all of them, they're going to have it on there. State with specificity, okay, I can't say it, specificity, and not in a general fashion, the number of followers or subscribers defendants have purchased from January 2020 to the present. Include the amount paid for this purchase and what platform these were purchased on. This is saying that she purchased subscribers. I wonder if they have proof of it. Oh, snap. State the names, addresses, and contact information for any and all employees, contract workers, or other contributors of defendants Without a Crystal Ball LLC from January 2020 to the present. The contact information includes any social media handles, including, but not limited to, Instagram, Snapchat, BeReal, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter, as well as email and phone number. She's in trouble. And here we go here. State the name, address, and contact number of each and every person who provided information to defendants regarding 7M Films Incorporated, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick. This includes any and all phone calls, texts, Facebook, Messenger, texts and calls, iMessages, WhatsApp messages, GroupMe messages, Discord messages and posts, Microsoft Team messages, emails, letters, face-to-face discussions, video calls, Zoom, Team, FaceTime, Skype, voicemails, as well as all social media posts, including but not limited to Instagram videos, posts, and lives, Snapchat, BeReal, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. State the date and content of the communication starting from January 2020 to the present. Holy moly. This is a problem for her. Okay? This is a problem. This right here, that's all highlighted, is a huge problem. Because she's done. That right there, she's always lived on what she can get out of other people in interrogatories and depositions. This one, 7M came to play. And they're going to get all of this out of her. And so she may have had her day in the sun, but it could be coming to an end. Now, it states, for each communication, please state who initiated contact and the content of that discussion. So in other words, when she says, oh, they reached out to me, let's have proof of that. Because it sounds more like she reaches out to them and then they respond based on the tone in which she says so. Now, it says here, state the name, address, and contact number of each and every person to whom defendants have shared information with regarding. So it says to state the name to everyone who she shared the information with. Oh, so not only who provided it, but to whom she told. Oh my God. Oh. State the name, address, and contact number of each and every person to whom defendants shared information with regarding 7M Films Incorporated, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, and James Derrick. This includes any and all phone calls, texts, Facebook Messenger texts and calls, iMessages, WhatsApp messages, GroupMe messages, Discord messages and posts, Microsoft Team messages, emails, letters, face-to-face discussions, video calls, Zoom, Team, FaceTime, Skype, voicemails, as well as social media posts, including but not limited to Instagram, videos, posts, and lives, Snapchat, BeReal, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. State the date and content of the communication starting from January 2020 to the present. For each communication, please state who initiated contact and the content of that discussion. Now that one seems to include 13. It went 12 where it had all of that. And then 13 is just this line. And then it goes to 14 that states, state the name, address, and contact number of each and every person who provided information and whom defendants Catherine Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball LLC shared information with regarding Melanie, Kelly, and Dean Wilking. This includes any and all phone messages, phone calls, text, Facebook Messenger, texts and calls, iMessages, WhatsApp messages, emails, letters, and face-to-face discussions, video calls, Zoom, Teams, FaceTime, Skype, voicemails, as well as all social media posts, including but not limited to Instagram, videos, posts, and lives, Snapchat, BeReal, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. State the date and the content of the communication starting from January 2020 to the present. State the name, address, and contact information and date of contact of any reporters the defendant shared information with relating to 7M Films Incorporated, Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick, James Derrick, or any persons or entities associated with plaintiffs. Oh, wow. Wow. She's done. This is going to be a problem. Because She doesn't have this. State the name, address, and contact information for any third parties defendants have had contact regarding plaintiffs. For each third party, please provide the first date of contact and a summary of all matter which have been discussed with that third party. It says of all matter, not matters. What information, 17 says, what information was provided with you to support your statement that 7M Films Incorporated and Robert Shin are involved in human trafficking? There you go. This is the big one. Okay? This is right here because she straight up says it. And you do not say that. And so it says here, what information was provided to you supporting your statement? 7M Films Incorporated and Robert Shin are involved with human trafficking. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided that information. Okay, now here we go. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that 7M Films Incorporated is a cult? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Okay, and I think that, it's a big question as to what is a cult. And that it needs to be defined. I think it needs to be defined better as what is a cult? And are all cults bad? Why do they have a bad connotation? And I think that at trial they would probably go into that because if you're a cheerleader and you're in cheerleading, is cheerleading a cult because it has a group of people who are like-minded, who think together, who act together? Is that a cult? What defines a cult? And are all cults bad? Or can cults be good? It's basically a lesson in sociology. So then we go here. It says, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that the worst part of this cult is that they are preying on black dancers, exploiting them, and then making them believe that everyone is made at them because they are black? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. What? Okay, so she said, the worst part of this cult is that they are preying on black dancers, exploiting them, and then making them believe that everyone is made at them because they are black. It says everyone is made at them. Do they mean mad? That everyone is made at them because they're black. What? Oh. Then it says, what information was provided to you supporting your statement, which maintains that Robert Shin sexually abuses women? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Now, this is going to get dicey because if some people did say this to her, what proof did they have? And if Katie Joy can cling on to somebody, she's going to cling on and she's going to put them right up there with her. She's not going to fry alone. So some of these things could have been people just like her who are bitter about something and they told her this and that, but they didn't expect her to go and do what she does with it. And now they're going to go down because they're going to find out that thinking that she'd be somebody to confide in was not a very good idea. And then we have here, what information was provided to you supporting your statement, which maintains that Robert Shin is instructed by God to teach young women about sex and that he induces them into joining his cult. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. So she said that, huh? That Robert Shin is instructed by God to teach young women about sex and that he induces them into joining his cult. What information was provided to you supporting your statement, which maintains that 7M Films Incorporated dancers are under mind control? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. And what information was provided to you that supported your statement that dancers are told and believe that are anointed by God? It doesn't say that they are, it says that are. The source alleges Robert has brainwashed them to believe that outsiders are not worthy of their time and dangerous. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Now, Katie Joy does talk weird. She's not articulate. And when she does these messages and says these things, they are disjointed. So it doesn't surprise me that these questions don't flow right, because they could be exactly as she posted them. But then again, we've seen typos and issues on both sides of the coin here with complaints. So some of these things aren't flowing right, but I suppose that, they're all linked with something, and we'll be able to see that. But I mean, these are very specific. So where did she get this information? And then we go here, and it says, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that social media managers at 7M Films Incorporated are blocking any family member and friends that try to reach out? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Okay. So who told them that? So now we go over here and we say, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that leaders threatened to KILL their families if they kept in contact with them? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided them. Okay. What information was provided to you supporting your statement which maintains that 7M Films dancers are not allowed to answer questions and that everything must go through Hannah Shin? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided. Okay. 7M Incorporated dancers are not allowed to answer questions and everything must go through Hannah Shin. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that your pastor, okay, and look at this, it doesn't spell pastor right. Check this out, PASTER. So did she misspell it? Your pastor? What the world? Your pastor, Robert Shin, has been accused of spying on members, placing spy technology on computers, hacking, and monitoring all electronic communication of members. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided that information. Your pastor? She did not misspell it like that, did she? Come on, we can't take somebody serious who does this. Who can't spell pastor? Your pastor? No. information was provided to you supporting your statement that Robert Shin's church is forcing dancers to live in properties owned by them in dangerous neighborhoods? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Okay, so there's not proper grammar here. Okay, let's see. What information was provided to you that's supporting your statement that church members are not allowed to own or drive their own cars? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that the most committed members hand over their financial lives to Hannah Shin? She pays bills, taxes, and makes sure the tithing church gifts are all made. As alleged by other church members, Shekinah leadership has access to bank accounts. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided it. Okay, so we're going to go here. And then it says, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that Miranda Derrick missed a family funeral due to 7M Incorporated statement that they would not pay her if she went? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Okay. I remember that was about her grandma, right? And then, let's see. Then over here we have, it says, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that dancers' lives are so tightly controlled that they can't do anything without speaking to Daniel first? If Daniel says no, dancers can't do it. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that 7M is not only trying to control the dancers, they also want to control the government? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Wow. She just doesn't care. I can't imagine how somebody would not be scared to say these things. I mean, when I did the Watts and stuff, before I went just straight from Discovery, like here, and I did my information based on what I had found myself, and then created ways of putting the scenarios together to give a possible scenario of how things could have occurred. I said right in the beginning that this is a story. It may or may not be true. The details may or may not be accurate. And I wove things together to see if this fits, because there were a lot of weird scenarios that just were coming out and nothing made sense to me. And then I went to the actual Discovery and everything that I could get in that realm to back up what I said, and then used autopsy reports and whatnot, and then Shanann's own Facebook media postings and phone calls and whatnot, and put those together with that. And I still was very, very careful with what I said and how I said it. And basically I had to figure out, okay, if I get sued here, Can I look at a judge and say, this is how I came to this conclusion? Can I say that I looked at this and this, and the natural occurrence of events would lead me to believe this is how this happened, or because this happened by the deduction of reasoning, these two things had to occur. That's the way I did things, and still I was afraid. And I still am afraid. I'm really careful with how I say things. I can't imagine how she wasn't. I mean, I'm careful within the realms of being a creator, that I make things as interesting as I can, not being monotone and whatnot, to make the story flow. But this stuff is way out there, and dangerous. I would not be saying this about people that have money, but she does. What information was provided to you that's supporting your statement that B- was a victim of the shins, and that he was also used to lure Miranda in? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that 7M Films Incorporated psychologically abuses its dancers? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information to the person who provided the information. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that physical appearance and diet are important to Robert Shin? For each statement, fact, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. How does she even know about all these people? How do they affect her? Why does she care? How does it affect her daily life? Physical appearance and diet are important to Robert Shin. Well, I mean, of course the physical... I mean, if you're marketing somebody and you're doing their social media, you don't want to promote some, sloppy schlep. If you're promoting them, then yeah, their business manager. Anyway, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that your pastor, again, Paster, your pastor? Did she write this like this, or is somebody's legal secretary not knowing how to spell pastor? Because Paster. Your pastor, Robert Shin, has openly admitted that he curses people that do not donate to him. For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. And now here, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that Robert waterboarded Dom? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact. Okay, did he waterboard him, or was he just baptizing? What in the world? Robert waterboarded Dom. How does she know all this? What information was provided to you supporting your statement that Robert Shin is using the church to defraud people and enrich himself by funneling donations to shell for-profit companies? Oh my word. Why is she not afraid that someone's gonna, I don't know. I mean, someone's gonna whack her, sleep with the fishies. I would not say these things about big influential people. I just wouldn't. But anyway, okay. So it says, okay, funneling donations. This one came over here, and it was $39.40. Oh wow, this messed up in the computer big time, because it merged some things in and merged this last one. So let's see here. That's that same one. To shell for, so she's essentially saying money laundering for shell companies. And then, what information was provided to you supporting your statement that the Clippers are cutting ties with 7M? Now, this one's interesting because when she was bragging about that she made it happen and was like, we got things happening. For each statement, fact, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided you with that information. Interrogatory 41. What information was provided to you supporting your statement that 7M Films dancers are all falsely married to their spouses and are not allowed to live with each other? For each fact, statement, etc., please provide the name and contact information for the person who provided the information. Please state specifically and not in a general fashion what contact you have had with the Los Angeles Clippers organization regarding plaintiffs and why that contact occurred. Oh, we could just pretty much have the trial based on that, because that's showing how and why that whole thing went down. Where she got their contracts canceled, allegedly. Please state specifically and not in a general fashion why you instructed your followers to do their thing with regard to plaintiffs and their associates. There you go. Now, this is huge because she did. When she tells her little flying monkeys to, do what she does and troll and harass people and companies so that they will think that actual people with brains are doing this, but it's actually just Katie Joy doing her crap. Please state specifically and not in a general fashion what your intent in posting each of the social media posts outlined in plaintiff's amended complaint, paragraph 26. Plaintiff's amended complaint, paragraph 26. I need to find that amended complaint. Paragraph 26. I wonder if I can still get that or if that's part of under the protection. Paragraph 26. And then it says, please state specifically and not in a general fashion the reasons for each of your affirmative defenses outlined in your answer. And then it says, Interrogatory 46, for each of your responses to plaintiff's first set of requests for admissions, which was not admit, please explain the factual basis and reasoning for your answer. And this was signed 5/11/2023 by Amber J. Stavik. Okay, so those should have been done. Now, 7M has their answers protected because of the protection order. Her answers are not protected. So we should be able to see them at some point. I do not believe that they have been turned in. I don't know if they are something that will not come out until after trial. Just because I've not seen them pop up anywhere. But it'll be interesting to see if they do. And I keep checking. I keep going and rechecking and checking, making sure that I have everything. So if something turns up, if the answer is submitted or whatnot, I'll get it. But otherwise, I'll just keep on trucking and giving you guys each little piece because it matters. The truth matters. I know that there are people out there who believe that the truth doesn't matter and the truth should be silenced. And as you saw, that one person, I blocked this person 3 times from my channel, and they keep coming back in the same name and everything, But they said that I need to pay her no mind, and if I ignore her, she'll go away, essentially. That, to not post about it because it's not important. And I feel very differently. I feel that because the truth and all of these details going on behind the scenes are not known, that she gets away with what she does. I think that the whole story needs to be told. And so you can help in that, in telling people about my channel, about the information that you heard, by liking and sharing, because the truth does matter. It matters to me, and I know that it matters to you too. So with that being said, we will close on part 21, and we will do part 22 next in a couple days. All right. I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I appreciate all of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.